Throughout my career, I've actually had lots of different business coaches and mentors, but the one that I've been working with over the last 5 months has completely transformed the way that I look at this relationship and also the benefits that I've got out of it. And big shout out to Nathan Fratter, Nate from Backbone in New Zealand, who was introduced to me through a mutual contact, which I think is one of the best ways to connect with a coach and mentor, because people that know you and know what you might be looking for also know the qualities that you might be looking for in a coach and mentor. A really good friend of mine recently, Sky from Ruby Olive, she asked me, she's like, well, what have you got out of it? Like, what's the benefits that you've seen in your business? And the reality is that the business is me. I've come into a completely different space, come from e-commerce into marketplace, and gee, what a humbling journey it's been because I thought I would be all over it, going, hey, what it needs is it needs that e-commerce mind to come into a marketplace. It is so different. I have learned so many lessons on that. But the biggest thing for me that I've found in this last 5 months with working with Nathan is how much I've evolved. And yes, of course, there's been increases in the business and, well, not even increases, right? Because it's not actually about a revenue point at this stage. We're at that real building and growth stage. So there's other fundamentals that are being built that I'm using as kind of those key KPIs to measure the success of where we're going. But how much I've evolved in that time is phenomenal. I saw Brad Seymour speak at a New South Wales government event 2 weeks ago now, which was amazing. Big shout out to Chris Lamont, who's the New South Wales Small Business Commissioner. It was a really great event. But Brad was saying, when he talked about the 14 key elements that it takes to build a business, and he was one of the original founders of Wizard Home Loans, was that he was saying the first thing that he mentioned was the founder, and about how where you're at and how you show up is the number one thing that will create the success in your business. And gee, it really has sunk into my soul, that message. And it's so true, because that is the number one thing that I've seen happen in this past 5 months. Within that founder journey, I think the thing that I've learned how to do the most is ask better questions. We are in a world of tech. So one of the things that I had missed about Marketplace and that I hadn't really thought through was just how involved in the tech aspect we are. We're a SaaS model. It's a membership subscription for artists so that they get 100% of their commission, less transaction fees. But I had missed the concept that how heavily I was going to be needing to be involved in the tech aspect. And while I'm very open to tech, I love the creative challenge of tech, it has never been at this level. And this is really pushing me outside my comfort zone. And every time that I keep diving into a little piece of the tech, right? A little piece of the user experience, a little piece of what we're doing, it makes me realize, what's the question that I'm asking? And, it comes back to that question of what problem am I solving and who are we solving that problem for? And just learning that piece, which has actually only just dropped in the last week properly. Nathan's been pushing back on me about this throughout this whole journey, but it's only in this last week, as we started to discuss user stories, that it's really landed for me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what's the question we're asking? What's the problem we're solving? It's such 101, but when you add it into being applied to tech, gee, it's mind-blowing. And the third thing that's been really different about this journey for me with Nathan, that is something that I haven't done before. Nate's about, I'm going to say he's early 30s, right? I don't know the exact age. He's a genius. And I've never had a mentor and coach that was younger than me. Now, I know that I'm in the tech world and predominantly it is much more male dominated. It is much younger. But for me, I did kind of have one of those limiting beliefs about the age of the mentor that you might be working with. And for me, working with Nate, not only is he a wealth of information, but he's got that young spirit and that young energy, which allows me to feed off that energy as well. And for those of you that know me, you know that I'm an absolute energetic, magnetic ball anyway. But so to be working with him and getting pushed on the questions, getting pushed on the concepts, but also nurtured, has been phenomenal. Now, I was planning to only share 3 things, but there is a fourth. I've also learned how to show up vulnerably when it's needed. The other week, probably about a month ago now, but I just had a really bad day and things were off. It had kicked off by my perfectionism kicking into gear and me going, oh, my videos aren't up to scratch. I'm not where I want to be. And really sitting into that gap rather than the gain of actually what I'd learned in that moment and what I've been learning over the past 18 months. And learning how to share that with Nate in a way that it wasn't about me having a pity party, but I was just actually sharing in that aspect. It was incredible how much he supported me and held me in that moment. I don't mean physically held, I mean energetically held space for me in that moment and shared with me as well part of his journey, part of his story, which just really helped me to feel balanced and knowing that if you're a founder out there and you've had a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, oh my goodness, you are not alone. I think that with the evolution of everything that we do on social media, it's so easy for us to always talk about the glossy things. And I'm not saying that you need to start shifting that energy necessarily in your socials, but finding the right people, finding the right coach and mentor where you can do that with, and they help you get out of that hole is just such a huge benefit to your business. So anyway, I've tagged Nate. I don't know that he's actually taking on new clients, but this was really just to share about my journey with coaching and mentoring over the past 5 months with Nate and just how much it's changed me as a person, and just wait and see what we're working on with Made It. Look out, world.